Okay. You want to know how I broke into tech? Through a referral. Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Ricky. I post tech and lifestyle videos and vlogs such as this one, where I talk about life in my 20s, my life in corporate tech, working from home, and all of the fun things. I'm here to share my life lessons with you with hopes that it will help somebody else out there. So if you have not subscribed already, please consider it so you can follow along in my journey and we can grow together. Now, chances are if you click this video, then you too are interested in how you could possibly switch into tech. So here's a small little breakdown. And as always, the chapters are going to be in the description box below. Quick note for the tips and takeaways portion of this video. I do want to put out a disclaimer that I will be sharing all the lessons that I've learned throughout the story. So be sure to watch the whole thing. But if you want just straight to the point tips, then this portion, this chapter is here for you. I went into college like most folks, not knowing what I wanted to do. I just knew that I wanted something to be impactful, meaningful, something along the lines of helping other people. So after many hours of research and a lot of conversations with my counselor, I finally landed on the major called exercise science or kinesiology, which is now what it's more commonly called, especially in the university that I graduated in. Sometime between my sophomore and my junior year, I decided to lean into my interest in tech, and I actually completely switched majors into computer science to see what that would be like. And then I had a very honest conversation with my counselor who said it was actually going to take me about 5.5 years to 6 years to finish out school because I had switched majors. So I ended up doing a lot of self-reflection and number crunching to see what would really be realistic for me financially. And I landed on the decision to switch back into kinesiology. And because I already ended up doing so much work in computer science, I still got a minor in it. 4.5 years later, I finally finished my degree, got my minor in computer science, but I was very focused on wanting to also get my doctorate in physical therapy. Those were kind of my post-grad plans. In my last semester, which is in the winter of 2019, I focused a lot on kind of what this would look like for me to apply for PT school. I looked into the prerequisites that I had to take, GRE prep, which for those of you guys who don't know, GREs are basically SATs and ACTs before the graduate level. And I started working at a physical therapy clinic as well as having an internship at a hospital. I honestly thought that it was going to be a smooth ride into PT school. I thought that the hardest part of it all would be applications, but no, it was a global pandemic. Essentially, I was forced to rethink my postgraduate decisions and what I wanted to do moving forward. I didn't really know what the future held at that point. I feel like really nobody did. All I knew was that I needed a way to pay off my student loans and, of course, pay for bills. Because of the pandemic, I lost my hospital internship, and I also eventually did quit in the physical therapy clinic. Luckily, I got a job at my old high school, and so I ended up moving back home to help my parents out with the bills and everything that was going on with COVID. And I leaned into my tech side. Because I had been creating content for a little bit and growing my Instagram at the time, I had a little bit of experience in digital marketing, and I took a couple of classes here and there to also help me get a little bit more clients. So I guess you could say that I was doing some freelance digital marketing. I made websites, I helped people out with their podcasts, graphics, email marketing, social media management, and essentially a lot of digital marketing services that a lot of physical therapists in this space were looking for in order to grow their business online. I did this for about 6 months, and then I was introduced to the world of support engineering.
Wow.
Now, prior to learning about support engineering, all I knew in tech were software engineers. There's front end, back end, and just a lot of different engineers within the space. But I had no idea what a support engineer was or what support engineering even is until my friend got a job in that role. So before we move on to the story, you may be wondering, what is support engineering? It's different in every company, and it's called different things in different companies. Some roles are more technical than others. Some are a little bit more customer facing. But for me, it's a little bit of both. From time to time, I definitely do take a look at code and figure out what's wrong, which in the tech world is also called debugging. And then I take what I've found and communicate that to our customers. Again, it looks different for a lot of different companies, but essentially that is what support engineering is. We are essentially supporting the software engineers. Anyway, my friend started telling me about his experience in this role, in this company, and I grew really interested in it. So one day I just kind of shot my shot, and while we were talking about it, I was like,
Hey, are you guys hiring?
And lucky enough for me, there were positions available. And my friend, knowing my background, knowing that I didn't have any experience in tech, but knowing what skills were needed in order to succeed in the role, went ahead and put that referral for me. Now, before we move into the entire process, like the interviews and all of those things, I do want to point out that if you guys were to get a referral, it is not the referrer's job to get you the job. The role of the referral, and I'm not in recruiting or anything like that, but just from what I understand, is that it's supposed to kind of move you to the front of the line when it comes to the application process, and the referral could potentially result in an interview. So I just wanted to put that out there. This also means that the employee is putting in a good word for you. So if you were to get a referral or ask for one, make sure that you do the research on the company, you do your research on the role, you basically just do your due diligence. I used to be ashamed to tell people that I got in through a referral because I thought I got in the easy way, but no, it means I got in. I found a way to get in. Getting a referral is definitely nothing to be ashamed of, and neither is asking for one. It's a tool that's meant to be used, so go ahead and use it. And besides, getting a referral is only one step in the entire process, which we're about to get into, the interview process. Let me tell you guys, the interview process in tech, and I know this is not universal, but I've heard a lot of stories from other people, and I'm sure there's other people online who can attest to this. The interview process is lengthy, and it's unlike what I've been through before. It's a multi-stage process. I had never been through a multi-round interview process before, or I think I have, but just not this in-depth and not this lengthy. After my friend had put in a referral, I received a call from the recruiter, which is essentially kind of like a vibe check. They call this a phone screening or a phone interview, or like initial phone interview. And then I got to talking with the hiring manager, who then was able to push me through the panel interview. The panel consisted of a technical interview, an interview with someone who would be on my team and would be my manager, an interview with a different manager, and then the same hiring manager I had spoken to before, and then a final kind of wrapping up with the recruiter. I think the whole process was about 3 to 4 hours or so. And after that, I mean, all you could do is try not to hold your breath and wait and see if they're going to give you an offer. I feel like speaking about it now, it seems like a very simple process, but anybody who's been through any kind of rounds of interviews, even if it's not for tech, know that it's just a very stressful time, and there's kind of a lot of pressure that revolves around interviewing and job applications and things like that. So make sure that you take it one step at a time and know that it is a lot to go through, but you absolutely can do it. As someone changing careers with no prior experience, I knew that it was important for me to highlight transferable skills that I had, the experience that I had in other fields, such as in retail and in healthcare, and translate that into how I would be successful in my role in tech and what I was interviewing for moving forward, how I align with the mission of the company, and all of those things. It was a lot of interview prep for sure. I waited about 1 or 2 days, and then I finally got an email that said they were going to be giving me an offer, and we are not ending there. When you get an offer letter, you're actually supposed to negotiate. Aside from all of the interviewing, negotiation is just as important, because more often than not, the number that they're going to give you in the offer letter or in the negotiation process is kind of the only time that you can adjust and shift your salary expectation. I don't want to speak too much on negotiation because I'm just not well versed. I'm not very educated on it. I still have a lot to learn about it, but I do know that it's very important. So make sure you do your research. If there's one thing I learned, it's that you never take the first offer and that you always negotiate. Worst case scenario is they say no and they still offer you the first offer, but best case scenario is that they go ahead and give you what you wanted. And I think most case scenario is that they kind of meet you in the middle. After the back and forth, I received a final offer, I signed and submitted, and I was off to onboarding. I feel like there's no better way to learn a role than to interview people that have been in it or are currently in it. There are a lot of roles, from technical ones to non-technical ones. Taking a look at your own friend circle to see if there are people that are working the positions or the field that you're interested in. Don't be afraid to network on platforms like LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram. Introduce yourself, tell them your interests, and ask for a coffee chat, whether that's in person or virtual, and just again, get a first-hand experience of what it's like to work the role that you're interested in. Make sure that the role that you're applying for is one that you're actually interested in. I grew very interested in support engineering because I felt like it aligned with the experiences I've had with like customer service, and it was also in the tech industry, which was something that I was trying to lean into. So make sure you guys are actually interested, even just a little bit, in the role that you're actually applying for, because it'll just help you so much more and it'll make the application process so much smoother. It'll be so much easier for you to interview because then you could just pull from your own experiences and you would be speaking from the heart at that point, not through a script. The last takeaway or tip here is to believe in yourself. This may be a hot take, but switching careers is normal. We as humans evolve and are allowed to change our minds over time. We are also not meant to do just one thing for the rest of our lives. I'm a firm believer of that. And I'm proud to say that I have a degree in a different field. I don't think it's a waste because my experience in a different field helps me to have a little bit more of a holistic viewpoint when it comes to certain issues that are coming up. When you're somebody who's kind of seen a different side of things, like kind of like thinking outside of the box, you're able to bring a different perspective into the field, which I feel like a lot of companies are actually starting to appreciate more. There are endless possibilities out there, and who knows, maybe one day I might end up starting my own healthcare tech company. Now, I could talk about this for hours, and if the lighting in this video has changed just throughout the time that you've been watching this, I do apologize. I started filming at sunset and the sun has officially set. Let me know in the comments if you have any questions regarding my experience with switching careers, if maybe you went through a career switch and some of this resonated with you. If you haven't already, please consider subscribing. And as always, thank you guys for allowing me to share my life with you. I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.